Hi there. I love stories. I love telling them, I love building worlds and making cool creative stuff. Art, writing, world building, all of it. It is my jam. I've done it for a while, but I've never made anything big. I've gotten to the point where I want to make an actual book, like a novel level book, maybe even a series. But I keep running into roadblocks. And I think many of you can relate to having cool ideas and maybe like 80% of the plan to actually pull off a good story. But there's that pesky 20% that's just an open void into which you throw your proverbial ping pong ball of thought in the hopes of it bouncing back to you with something new that can solve your narrative problems, but it just never does. Having people to bounce ideas off of is a huge part of storytelling and world building. Thus far, I've constructed quite a lot of a world and figured out a bit of a story, but there's that 20% that just isn't in my head, and I need some outside ideas. All of this is to say, I am making this video as an experiment. Does this format work for writing books? Does just writing as far as you can go and then making a video to get ideas and feedback when you get stuck work? Maybe, I don't know, but it's worth a shot. And if you're like me and feel like you have a story to tell and wonder if doing something like this would help solve the blank spots in your narratives, then I hope you'll join me on this experimental journey. If it works for me, it might work for you. So, without further ado, let's get into part 2, the part where I lay out the basics of my world, characters, and story as best I can. Alright, here we go. This story takes place in a vast and vibrant world in a sort of pre-medieval time period. What's it called? Don't know. Everybody probably calls it something different. This is a world of survival. Giant flora and fauna. A vibrantly vertical world full of fascinating civilizations and fearsome creatures. Some of which I'll explain in this video, others I can make a dedicated video on in the future. I want this story to be an awesome, swashbuckling time. I'm talking battles, journeys, courage, loyalty, betrayal, villainy, last stands, quests, feasts, sacrifice, daring escapes. True love. The whole package. A rollicking yarn full of heart and epicness that will make you laugh and cry and everything a good story is meant to do. Now, can I actually pull off all that? I think just maybe I can. But more importantly, I have to try. Even if I fail, I'll never make anything good if I don't start somewhere. I mean, most authors' first novels aren't as good as their later works, but I can't just skip the line. All journeys have a beginning, and this is mine. Now, this is all well and good, but what is the story? This is something I really want to focus on, especially as an artist and world builder. There are a lot of people who keep adding to and reworking their worlds, building more civilizations and adding more details and polishing everything, but they never actually tell a story with it, and I don't want to be that guy. I love world building, don't get me wrong, but it can become a distraction and ultimately just lead to procrastination. Even a really awesome world will die a cold and lonely death without a story to give it some life. Alright, so what is the story, and who are the players in this adventure? Well, the main story centers around the conflict between a pretty newly established civilization of peaceful folk, the Darya Sharo, and a territory of marauders, the Zadaka, that have made an uneasy alliance with the Black Coil, a fleet of murderous seafaring brigands. For most of history, tribes have had to survive in their own way in groups scattered around the forest, traveling and trading with one another, sometimes building smaller, protected villages, but not usually establishing large open settlements. With deadly creatures the size of small buildings roaming these lands, it's a hard and dangerous life. Enter these guys, the Darya Sharo. They discovered long ago that there was a place in the forest where no dangerous animals went. The reason was that this is the territory of one of the most deadly creatures ever to walk the forest, something that for now I'm just calling the Shrike. These people figured out that if you could steal the molted scales of this creature and turn them into a sort of incense, they could create a kind of scent wall that would essentially mark a place as being Shrike territory. Given dangerous creatures would not venture into Shrike land, they could essentially ensure a relatively safe environment for themselves. They called this discovery the Dawn Wall. Specially trained people, called Dawn Runners, were trained to be the ones who ran into the Shrike's lair and worked as a team to steal more scales for the wall. The highest honor, but the deadliest task. This Darya Sharo civilization soon grew larger and larger, able to build a large city with ports and a fleet of ships able to protect nearby villages from raiders and brigands, especially the Black Coil. Every few years, the Dawn Wall is expanded, and the scattering of small villages in the forest send their fastest champions to train as runners. Only one village will be able to be inducted within the Dawn Wall due to the limited resources, so competition is fierce. Here's where our main characters come in. There are primarily two main characters. The first character is Rue, a young girl growing up on the Bilge, a floating pirate empire built on the back of a giant sea turtle shell and ruled by a mad tyrant. She was captured in a raid when she was young and now toils away her days as a pirate slave, hoping one day for a chance of escape. When one day her chance comes and she escapes the clutches of her captors, her story collides with that of a world-weary pirate hunter named Lazarek Vask, who has been spending his days hunting and killing pirates in the hopes of finding the Bloodwake, the ship that raided his home and killed his wife and daughter when he was a younger man. Rue and the pirate hunter then go on a roller coaster of an adventure, each learning from the other as they pursue their individual goals. Rue learned about the pirates' plans to destroy the Daryosharu city while she was captive on the Bilge, and sets out with the help of the pirate hunter to warn the city. They are often at odds, and their relationship is strained at times, but they develop something of a father-daughter bond over the course of their escapades. Far away from there lives our other protagonist, Tazan Kinjathi. He and his brother Kadern are the fastest hunters in their village. They are chosen to leave the village and become runners. Now before them lies the challenge of a lifetime, to be the fastest Dawn runners in the forest and protect their village by being the ones chosen to be inducted behind the Dawn Wall. As Taz and Cade undergo their challenging training, they uncover a plot to destroy the city from within. Now, they must risk their commitments to their training and helping their village to dig deeper into the plot before it's too late. As they dig deeper into the plot, the brothers meet Ira, the family servant of one of the city's prominent clans. She has been suspecting a plot herself and bumps into the brothers while they were on their own investigation. Together, they try to uncover what is going on in the city. Taz is quite taken with Ira, and the two grow closer as time goes on. To the west of the city, raiders have made an alliance with the Black Coil to build a fleet of their own. Once the plot unfolding in the city sabotages the existing fleet, they will attack the city. They want the lands there, the seas unprotected, and above all, they want the secret of the Shrike's location so they can build a wall of their own. They've captured people and traded slaves with the pirates to work as labor to build their ships. Ira and the two brothers, while uncovering the plot, get betrayed, captured, and taken to this secret labor camp, hidden away in a cove to the west of their city. There, they must survive the brutal treatment of their overseers and rally the other slaves to sabotage the ships, plan a daring escape, and warn the city before it's too late. Between the efforts of Ira, the two brothers, and that of Rue and the pirate hunter Lazarek, the cove falls to the Allied forces, and the slaves in the compound are freed. There's peace again, but still much to do. The drums of war have awoken between the remnants of the raiders and the city of Dawn. And for Rue, the fight will never be over until her fellow slaves on the Bilge are freed and the Corsair tyrant destroyed. But that'll be a story for another time, or perhaps another book. For now, that's all I got. Obviously, I have more specifics about the story, world building, people, characters, all that. I got whole loads more. But for a summary, this will do for a start. Let me know what you think. Next video, I can lay out some of the plot issues and narrative roadblocks I'm trying to solve, and maybe go into some more of the world building if people want. There's a lot of things I'm still trying to figure out. Obviously, I can't use every idea I'm given, and even some really good ideas might not fit the narrative or tone of the story, but feel free to chime in if you got anything. I'm grateful for every contribution, and it's awesome that anybody would want to participate in this whole thing at all, so thank you to whoever wants to pitch in. I don't know exactly how all of this will go down, but I'm just taking a first step and seeing what happens next. Regardless of what happens, we're going to have some fun, so buckle up, and I'll see you in the next video.
So, until next time, from all of us here, happy painting and God bless.